Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro. We are going to review Jojo Rabbit, new film from Taika Waititi, big Best Picture lock, and Toronto People's Choice Award winner, which just shows crowds are eating this movie up. They're loving it. Our crowd loved it too, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. This movie got an applause, and the woman behind me immediately when it was done said, "That was my favorite movie." And then she repeated herself, just to clarify, that was my favorite movie ever. Oh, like my God. I know I was hearing those sniffles. I wasn't sure if it was going to break from the comedy and get those sniffles from people, but we heard the sniffles, didn't we?
Now, this movie is a little divisive with the critics. So you have that divide.
Yeah.
We've seen this divide happen a few times recently. Joker, Bohemian Rhapsody. Which side are we on?
Well, let's not make it about teams here, Cole.
All right.
Maybe some of us aren't really on a team.
Are you not on a team?
I don't know. I might be more on one team than another. What's very clear about this film from the beginning is that it's goofy. You might not know what to expect based on the fact that the film takes place during the Holocaust in Germany. It likes to make jokes. It likes to make puns. It's wacky. It's wonky. It's a pure comedy. The movie, the way it introduces itself is like, oh, this is like funny. It may take some people a while to get on board with that, and others will just be like right with it immediately. Like they love seeing like Adolf Hitler as this silly caricature. They love how everything in the movie is a caricature of Nazi Germany. Most people are just not going to be bothered by that.
This movie seems like it's walking a tightrope, but then you sit down and if you let the movie charm you, you don't really care. There's a lot that you could nitpick about it, and perhaps if you go in watching and thinking, what is this representing? What is the cultural or historical context of this movie? What it's saying, if you're thinking about that the whole movie, you're not going to like it.
That's
you have
true.
to sit back and just let it charm you.
But I'll tell you, Cole, I did feel like I was on that tightrope. I was swaying a lot during the movie. I could really feel the wind. I could feel the gusts of wind, and I couldn't quite get off of that tightrope, and find my balance in the movie. That charm didn't sweep me into stability and balance. I didn't know how to really reconcile these two different things, which is that this movie is a goofy comedy and also has all this stuff going on. It was just the fact that I knew the movie wasn't really gonna say that much or be incisive about Nazi Germany. Why are we watching a movie about Nazi Germany where there's no insight, no takeaway? There's a takeaway of this movie, but it's more of a feel-good takeaway about live fun and have a good time and not be a bigot. I mean, nobody's gonna come into the movie a bigot and leave not a bigot. That's just not gonna happen. It's obviously a delusion.
You kind of do feel like that's what Taika Waititi thinks he's doing.
I know.
Which is a little...
I always get a bad feeling about that. When they make a movie like this is challenging people's perceptions. It's really not.
I was thinking about that before the movie. I think it's true now, but during the movie, I honestly wasn't thinking about that. Part of the reason that this worked for me was because the film is from the child's perspective, and right when you get into this film, it makes it clear that to this kid, Nazi Germany is a little Boy Scout camp. It gave itself a reason to not go Schindler's List. It felt like it was just constructed to be this great crowd pleaser, a heartwarming film. To me, it was how could you not be heartwarmed by this movie? It was like Green Book. It just works if you're gonna go in and let it charm you.
I did not get there with the charm. It didn't woo me like that. I felt weird about the movie, kind of the whole time. That was a little weird.
I didn't know that I was gonna like it this much. I just thought it worked, and a lot of the reason was because of the actors. Roman Griffin Davis is great. He's adorable. He does a great job carrying real emotion.
He doesn't feel like a child actor who's just fake acting,
right.
or he hit all of the jokes in the right way and delivered them with sincerity.
It was one of the best child performances I've seen in years.
Yeah.
And Thomasin McKenzie was equally good. Great in Leave No Trace, and here she is again. Fantastic.
And we're happy to see her again. I mean, I want to see her more and more. It didn't seem like in Leave No Trace that another actress could have brought the same sincerity and authenticity, which is what I feel like she does best.
It felt like she harbored a lot of pain inside her character. The pain of the performance is that it's in there, and she's dealing with it at all times.
I think she's crazy talented.
Yeah, these two performances absolutely make the movie. We have a couple other good supporting performances here. Taika Waititi as the imaginary friend Hitler is actually really great. He's extremely goofy, and he's not doing a layered performance that he needs to get nominated for, but what he brings is great comic relief, and his caricature of Hitler is actually like really well balanced, very flamboyant and silly, and birthed from the mind of a 10-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, he plays his own character that he wrote like perfectly well. The character is just there for comedy, and he is very, very funny. Like, there's nothing really more to say about it. It's not like a brilliant performance, I wouldn't say.
There are a couple other also just like comedic performances. Sam Rockwell, Rebel Wilson, and Stephen Merchant gain laughs in this film.
Scarlett Johansson, that character wasn't like great because it wasn't relatable at all, but I get like there's also, you could say it's in the mind of the 10-year-old, and so he sees his mom in this way, but she was very much made into something that wasn't like fully a person, but like was someone that represented something. I didn't like that character that much.
I felt that at times with this character, but overall I liked her. Her accent surprisingly didn't bother me. I feel like her German accent should be bothering me.
I don't think anybody in this movie had a good German accent. I don't think that anybody cared. It is kind of hilarious, actually.
Pretty British.
It's literally like if you are an accent person, you're going to pay attention to that stuff. You're going to be like, what? Like, what? It doesn't matter. I think it's actually part of like the funniness of this movie.
Finally, Jojo has a funny friend who is also just a very well-cast kid, and he's really funny. And altogether, what we have here is a SAG Ensemble nominee.
I would say that's going to happen. But I don't think we're going to get any individual acting nominations. It's hard to see people standing out. I know you think maybe Thomas and Mackenzie. I would think it's deserved, but I don't see it happening.
I think that what's working against her is that she's just like kind of young. I don't know. We'll see. She might pick up some nominations.
Did I think it was funny? It wasn't unfunny, but it wasn't like getting me all the time. It wasn't like, you know, digging into my ribs.
I laughed out loud quite a few times throughout the movie. I didn't think that every joke was hilarious.
Ha ha! Out loud.
I laugh quietly. It's out loud, but in the sea of the theater, you can't hear me. And I mean, Taika Waititi has a pretty unique sense of humor. You see it
exactly.
What We Do in the Shadows, and sometimes like this sense that there might be like this funny improvised line that was thrown in there, that sort of thing.
I feel like this movie is 100% taste. There wasn't that much there for me. It was never bad. The movie is well made. Taika Waititi is a very talented director who's like got something going for sure. My experience of the movie was like, I know we're not going anywhere with this. I don't know why we need this movie about Nazi Germany. Plenty of other funny movies we can make. It almost pretends like all the answers are just found by having fun and being lighthearted. You know, I didn't come away with thinking that there's anything this movie's like saying that's very unique or profound, and the plot speaks for itself. It doesn't really surprise at all in that way. Though the thing that it does well, and that's going to carry, you know, all the love that it has for it, is just that like it's exceptionally charming, it's funny, it's just like your cup of tea or it's not, I guess.
If this screen encompasses the horrendousness of Nazi Germany and the Holocaust and everything, then this is where the movie takes place. It doesn't feel the need to take on the weight of this event. It doesn't try to break out of that. And for some people, that is a problem, but it works just as a movie, and it being charming and being very heartwarming. So I don't have bitterness towards the film. It's not saying anything profound. It's not going to save this country. It's not the movie that we need right now. And if you think it's the movie that we need right now, you probably just have a very one-dimensional understanding of the turmoil in the country.
It's not a clever satire.
It's very much like Green Book to me. If you like think about like what it is, what it represents, then sure, it's not like the greatest thing. And for that reason, I hope it doesn't win Best Picture. It's also a very predictable movie. My goodness, it just had me on a hook. It was constructed to make me feel the way that it did. It's very heartwarming. And Thomas and Mackenzie, Roman Griffin Davis, every second that they have together, I can't help but to just be involved in the film. Those are like the conflicting feelings about the film that I think that people are going to be talking about. In terms of personal enjoyment, like, yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I think we mentioned what we think is going to happen with actors in the film, but Other Oscar nominations: Best Picture.
It's the crowd pleaser
absolutely
of the year.
a lock. If there's a Green Book pick, this is the Green Book pick.
This could be like a Green Book movie.
I mean, it's a rousing crowd pleaser. Audiences are gonna love it. So honestly, watch out. It's a 3-horse race right now, I would say. You think director? I think I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think if you're saying it's a 3-horse race, like, you have to admit that he'll probably be in the top 5 by the night the Oscar nominations come around. If he doesn't get nominated, it'll be like a snub at that point. His style, his stamp is all over it.
He's gonna have to take out Tarantino or like Gerwig or something weird, which he might.
Obvious screenplay nomination. Could it win? Is it in competition?
It's only gonna win if Jojo Rabbit wins Best Picture, just like what happened with The Favourite losing to Green Book. And The Irishman, as long as that is winning Best Picture, will take adapted screenplay.
Editing. I think it will get editing.
It's just gonna happen.
That happens with frontrunners. And this movie, like, has editing. It has a lot of editing. It has a really, like, fast pace.
And the Oscars will nominate films that don't have the most editing because they're just movies that they really like.
This movie had a lot, though.
And, I mean, it happened with Green Book last year. That was nominated.
Yeah.
The Grand Budapest Hotel got nominated for editing.
Yeah. It's very safe for art direction. And it's
costumes.
I'd say very safe for costumes. Was underwhelmed by the movie. Would give it a 6 out of 10.
I agree with a lot of the criticisms towards the film, but in terms of my personal enjoyment, this film is a 9 out of 10. I was charmed and I was heartwarmed.
And most of you probably will be too.
Let it please you. Have a good time.
Yeah, you can think about it later. You can think about it later.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Are you a white rabbit or a brown rabbit?